Hello, so I'm gonna bring forward a message from the past life oracle cards because right now, individually and as a collective, we're going through a lot of past life healing, whether we are conscious of that or not. A lot of it happens in dream time. Sometimes we bring back some of those memories, but often we don't have a conscious memory, and that is to protect us because sometimes it's just too much to hold in our field, and we don't need to always hold it in our conscious memory in order to heal it. Sometimes we are shown things because it's in our highest good to see it, because it can help us sometimes connect the dots. So for example, during 2024, I was often shown, or every now and then I would be shown a scene or an image of myself being persecuted in some way for speaking true, for being in alignment with the true one, God source, which was persecuted on this planet for a long time, the suppression of the divine feminine, the divine mother energies, and the distortion of the divine masculine energies. So sometimes we are shown, and I started to realize that a lot of the stuff I was releasing was related to these wounds, and I started to remember that I'd had these lives as a healer, as an oracle, where I'd brought forward information, messages and healing, and I'd been persecuted for it. So then I realized I held this fear deep within my body that was blocking me from fully activating and embracing my spiritual gifts, which is what is true for many people that are on this path. We have to go through a process of healing those traumas, and right now we are in a time where it is safe for us to do so. Back in those past lives, often it was not safe for us to process that trauma, and that's why it got repressed in the body. And now the body is starting to move, especially if we've been on our healing path for a while. The body starts to feel safe. We're in a time when we can start to be more open about these things without the fear of being persecuted, but there's still that trauma and that echo and that repression in the body that has to be released. So this is happening organically for us, and it's also happening, like I say, whether we're aware of it or not. So you might just be feeling heavy energies that come over you. You might be getting some images. You might be bringing some things back from dream time. So let's see. And all of this is happening for our highest good, right? As these energies move out of our body, are processed, are integrated, and we're bringing more light, we're bringing more of our true soul self. We start to step even deeper into the truth of who we are. We start to activate and open up our divine inheritance, our spiritual gifts that are a part of who we are. We are a spiritual being having a human experience, and it's about bringing that union back between the body and the soul. So let's see what particular past life energies are really coming to the surface right now for those that are tuning into this video, whether you're tuning in now or any point, because really time is not linear. So anytime you tune into this message holds some meaning for you. So let's see what past life energies are really at play right now. Okay, interesting. So we've got unrequited love, and we've got karmic relationships. So okay, so all to do with love and relationships, because what's unrequited love, right? This is a wound of feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, feeling not seen, not heard, not valued. You know, I think we've all at some point been through relationships where we've not felt that it's been reciprocated. I know I certainly have. And whilst as I was going through that relationship, and as I realised it was a massive spiritual activation for me, and it led to so many, which I'm going to have to say this card is here right now, blessings, lessons and blessings. It taught me so much. There were so many blessings that came from it. It also created some feelings of not feeling good enough, not feeling abandoned, feeling rejected. But it was those feelings that led me to go deeper inside and search for the blessing, search for the expansion, search for the growth. So whilst it created and I thought I've healed all this. I've totally healed all this. And then lately I've seen how there's been some feelings come up associated with this wounding that are coming up to be healed at this time. So it's really interesting that that's come out with karmic relationships, because the truth is that many relationships that we have in the first part of our life that has been had on this planet, really until the last few days, has mostly been karmic type relationships where there's been some kind of soul trauma, soul bonding, programming that's led us into these relationships of not real that they've become codependent, right? So right now many people are waking up to these relationships and realizing that they do not serve their highest good anymore. But hopefully as you're going through that, this card is saying, but each one of those relationships, because sometimes that word karmic, people talk about souls as being karmic relationships, being soul relationships, and being twin relationships, and it can feel like a karmic relationship is somehow bad or wrong, but that's not the truth, right? Because all relationships bring lessons, and all lessons bring blessings. All relationships give us the opportunity to look at our own wounding inside. If we are in a karmic relationship where we're not being treated well, then we're being asked to ask ourselves why we allow ourselves to be treated like that. What is it in us where we don't feel worthy enough to leave a relationship where we're not being valued for who we are, right? So they give us the opportunity to learn lessons, and that's what it's all about, really. Karmic relationships really is just unresolved energetic patterns that we agree to come into each other's lives to resolve, to help each other heal, right? I think about some of my karmic relationships, and every single one of them was, yes, trauma was created in many of them, feelings of rejection, feelings of not being good enough, but they already existed, right? Because if they didn't exist, I would have never entered into those relationships and stayed in those relationships for any length of time as soon as I started to recognize those energies. But I stayed longer because deep down I didn't feel worthy, I didn't feel strong enough. So I had to learn my lessons, and I had to grow stronger, and I had to start healing some of those self-worth issues and being like, actually, no, I'm not going to put up with this, even if I feel like I love, because often in karmic relationships, we feel that it's still a soul, right? It's still a soul that we are connected to, and often we've had many different interactions within many lives, so we feel a soul connection, so we can feel this loving energy, which can make it hard for us to leave. But as we start to, so when I left my one of the karmic relationships that I'm thinking of, it took a great deal of strength and a great deal of love for myself in order to leave that, because I still felt like I loved the other. But I realized that, I decided that I wasn't gonna do that to myself, and in that taking that step to leave it, whilst it wasn't a straight road and there was a lot of healing to do, my self-worth increased massively, and there was still work to do, but that was one step that showed myself that I did care about myself, that I did matter, that started to increase my self-worth. And also, maybe you're not in a relationship where you're not chasing after somebody, like perhaps you've done in the past, where you've wanted them to see you, to love you, because you felt love for them, you felt a connection to them, right? Again, this has come around for me lately, where, like I mentioned, there was a relationship where at first it was reciprocal, and then that person became distant, right? And I couldn't let go because I still loved that person, and I was like, so I was still kind of focused on that person, and eventually I did let go. Eventually I was like, I started to be like, well, no, I'm worth so much more than this. If they can't see who I am, then I'm taking back my power. And it was a case of healing. Again, we have to heal, because we're healing the parts of ourselves that feel unworthy, that allow ourselves to put up with breadcrumbs, right? So recently I've realized that there's been a couple of interactions that's come around for me, different people, where I've kind of thought, oh, my heart is opening again, where I thought, it's been a long time since I felt like, open to have a relationship, and I've been like, I've done so much healing, so much union, I've been bringing so much union into the divine feminine, masculine in my body, and I'm like, I feel so healed, I feel so like, and whilst I'm certainly not looking for love in terms of searching, because I've known on my journey that my destined partner we're just gonna meet, right? I know that in my soul, so I don't need to, and I've filled up my own cup, and I'm happy in myself. But lately there's been like these couple of relationships that have come in, and I've been like, okay, I felt a little bit of a connection there. So I've been like, okay, then I'm interested, I'm open to kind of getting to know. And then I then noticed some patterns emerging, like patterns before. And you know what, I've just thought, that's fine. I'm not gonna chase after something that is not meant for me, because I know who I am. So again, these lessons come back around. Lessons come back around to see, have you learned it? So perhaps you're being faced with a lesson that you thought you'd learned a few times ago, and you're going through another test, another initiation, and the universe is just testing to see, have you learned it? Are you ready for your divine partner? Because in order to really move into these divine partner relationships, so we're moving into a time where we're moving out of karmic relationships. These no longer serve humanity, and people are waking up and doing the healing and realizing that a lot of these karmic relationships are really related to our wounds and our trauma. And they're there actually for us to mirror our wounds and our trauma, so that we can see them. So they're a blessing. They're actually a blessing for us. It's so we can see it, because if we see it, we can start to heal it. If we can't see it, we can't start to heal it. We're in denial. It's in the shadow, right? So that's the blessing of these relationships. But we're moving into a time now where we're being asked to really focus and heal on ourselves, so that we can start to call in our divine union relationships, because these divine relationships, which are where two healed people come together. So a karmic relationship is where two unhealed people come together, and that is basically everyone on the planet we're born in with all these, we've been born in with all these wounds to heal, right, after generation. But we're in a time now, a divine time, where we are being assisted, where we can do that heal, where we can really move out of these, where we're starting to, we're here right now. Many of us are here right now to bring in divine unions, because karmic relationships are relationships that come together through wounding. The blessing is they're there to mirror and to be a springboard to awaken us to the truth of who we are. As we start to awaken to who we are, we start to heal. As we start to heal, we integrate more divinity. As we integrate that, we're not going to put up with breadcrumbs. We're not gonna put our energy into people that don't see who we are, right? We're not gonna do that to ourselves anymore, because we understand our worth. We feel worthy. We don't need a relationship to fulfill us, because we are fulfilling ourselves. And the relationship that we will be in is one where a divine soul partner relationship, which is one where two healed people come together, and they come together in union, which creates that true love. It's the true love that comes together. It's not the conditional love, which is what karmic relationships are massively built on, conditional love, where people need to do this, do that in order to make us happy, be this way, be that way in order to make us happy. Whereas divine union is two souls coming together in their authenticity, because they've done healing. Now, it's not that you're not necessarily going to be fully healed for a divine union to come in, but you're well on that path, and you come together when you're at a certain point where you then can support each other to complete your healing journey. And divine unions co-create together. They come together in collaboration. They support each other. They encourage each other. They do not put conditions onto their love and onto each other. So perhaps you are being like, I have seen this coming in again, but I've been able to recognize it, and it's been easy for me to just say, no, I'm not going to put my energy into that. That's fine. It's not a reflection on me. I don't feel rejected. I don't feel hurt. I don't feel not worthy. I just feel that's not my divine union, and that is okay. So so these are the messages that are coming through today. So whether if you are in one of these relationships, what I just want to say is, and you're getting the guidance to only you can know whether you're in one of these relationships. When we're honest to ourselves, we know when we're in these relationships. There's a lot of stuff out there about twin flames and things like that, which can keep people trapped, thinking that this lover is going to come back, right? This unrequited love, right? But I say, well, it's up to you, but I went down that rabbit hole. It's really about healing inside. When you heal inside, you're going to attract in your divine love, and it's probably not going to be the person that is ghosting you and not showing up for you, and it's unlikely, right? At least that's what I believe anyway. But if you're in one of these relationships and you are getting the guidance to leave, or maybe you've left one of these relationships just now and it's really difficult, just know that we don't have to see these relationships as being bad or wrong. And, you know, people can often hold on to these relationships for longer because they've put so much energy into them. There's just so many energies at play, and we can see it as being, you know, I've wasted my time. But that is not the truth. Nothing is wasted. Everything is a lesson and a blessing, and it's helping you to become your highest expression. And there's always going to be blessings that come out of these relationships for you. We need to go through the contrast as well to see our shadows, to see our wounds in order to heal them. So we don't have to doesn't have to be a dramatic and in fairness, it might be for some people. It depends on what level of interaction you're having with that other soul, right, and what consciousness level they're at. But it doesn't have to be, and we don't have to feel bad, shame or guilt for being in these relationships that often we can tend to carry. We can know that it, you know, every relationship we're in, everyone's a soul, and everything carries a blessing within it.